that will break your heart and put it back together again. I can't just be saying stuff I don't know. Two rival detectives. We can stop there. I'm gonna keep going, but for me, that's where I stopped. Two rival detectives. That's all I need to know. Just know that there's a good chance I might not read this. Yes, I'm not a fan of the cover. I'm not saying that I won't read a book with non-white characters written by white authors. I just am always iffy going into it. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I could really get into it, but we're gonna keep it short and sweet. Mixologist, that's not just wine, I think. That's like drinks, mixing drinks. I don't know. Let me break it down for you again. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. Today we're gonna be going over July new releases. If you're not new to my channel, you know I try and do these monthly releases either the last day of the month before or the first day of that month. It is Sunday, July 7th. Tomorrow, the 8th, it will be 1 month since I've been 25. Whoop whoop. But anyway, I took a little bit of a break, like a weekish, week and a half. I just feel like I've been doing everything last minute, which is so funny because I'm still doing this video last minute, but I feel like I'm in a different mental space. Like, I'm more excited to pick up my camera and film. It's just this time with this video, I always have my notes, and sometimes I don't want to do notes. So I kept putting that off, so that's why I'm doing it last minute today. I am excited for other content that I'm going to be filming. So let's get started. This time I have them by release dates, and we're going to be starting with July 2nd. So these books have already been published. Masquerade. This is set in a wonderfully reimagined 15th century West Africa. It's a dazzling lyrical tale exploring the true cost of one woman's fight for freedom and self-discovery and the lengths she'll go to secure her future. This is loosely based on the myth of Persephone. It takes you on a journey of epic power struggles and political intrigue that turn an entire region on its head. So I think this is historical fiction, maybe some kind of fantasy or like a myth reimagining. I obviously have it on this list because I do want to read it. However, just by reading the synopsis, I can tell that it's a little more out of my comfort zone. So I'll get to it. It's just I probably won't get to it fast. I'll take my time getting to it. On the bright side, this is by the same author that wrote Give Me a Sign. This is a hopeful novel about love, disability, and the inevitability of change. Ellie's deaf boarding school just shut down, and this forces her to return to her hearing family, and this also makes her go back to public school. She is paired up with a guy named Jackson, who is going to be helping her around the school. Jackson also has his own story, and he has some numbness in his legs that's affecting an important soccer match. His senior year getting off to a lonely start. He's very intrigued by Ellie. Little does he know, Ellie will soon be the person he wants most by his side when the strange symptoms he's experiencing amount to a life-changing diagnosis. This book explores what it means to build community. This is a story about the fear of the unknown and the beauty of the unexpected, all wrapped up in a poignant romance that will break your heart and put it back together again. I still haven't read Give Me a Sign yet, and this sounds like a standalone, like it has nothing to do with Give Me a Sign, but I think I still want to read that one first before I get to this one. Cash Delgado is living the dream. A small-town bartender juggles motherhood and a sexual awakening in this heartwarming queer friends-to-lovers romance from the author of Sammy Espinosa's last review. It sounds good. It's queer romance. July 9th. Let the Games Begin. This is set against a sizzling hot Greek summer filled with sunshine and souvlaki. What is that? I have no idea what that. I can't just be saying stuff I don't know. Oh, it's food. Okay, so that's food. Okay, so let me reread that. Okay, so this is set against a sizzling hot Greek summer filled with sunshine and souvlaki. So a type of food. This is a page-turning debut rom-com about two strangers at the top of their game. Pretty sure this is a black romance. I don't have the cover on here, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure I saw two black people. Sounds like a plan. one missing person, two rival detectives. We can stop there. I'm going to keep going, but for me, that's where I stopped. Two rival detectives. That's all I need to know. Infinite chemistry. This rollicking thrill ride told in alternating he said, she said perspectives is an irresistible blend of mystery, sexual tension, and humor. Very excited about this. I don't know if it's being promoted and marketed as a rom-com. I see it does at least say humor. And personally, I love books that are cartoon covered, animated covered, whatever, but it doesn't necessarily say rom-com, but it's funny. I don't know if that makes sense, but those are my favorite kinds of books. It's elementary, a fast-paced, completely delightful new mystery about what happens when parents get a little too involved in their kids' school. This is probably, I have been hearing about this book, I want to say since last year. I could be exaggerating, so maybe I should say since the very beginning of this year. And it's finally about to come out, and I'm so excited to read this book. The next best fling. Two broken hearts decide that the best way to get over their first loves is with a no strings attached relationship in this spicy and charming debut romance. I just saw a couple of mutuals talk about this because it is coming out. So I think these are their ARC copies and their ARC reviews. And I do have a mutual on TikTok who just recently raved about this book. So this is definitely very high up on my anticipated reads of this month. July 16th, The White Guy Dies First. Okay, let me just tell you what it's about. So this is an anthology. I know. This is 13 scary stories, 13 authors of color, 13 times we survived the first kill, and of course in every story, the white guy is gonna die first. Now, I do not like anthologies. However, I wanted to at least put it on here because some people do. However, I just don't think I'm gonna read this. There was an anthology that came out, yeah, I think in June. Maybe, I don't know, but it came out at most 2 months ago called The Black Girl Survives. In this one, that was the first anthology that I ever actually read all the way through, like from cover to cover. I just do not like anthologies, so I may see what this one's about, like just see, you know what I mean? Because I feel like at some point I'm gonna find one anthology that I really like. Just know that there's a good chance I might not read this. The Design of Us. One impulsive lie leads to a week-long adventure of fake dating for two bickering co-workers in this swoony destination wedding rom-com. This is from the same author that wrote The Trouble with Hating You. I have been wanting to read, I think it's that book. She has 2 books. The Trouble with Hating You. Let me look it up so I'm not lying. Yes, there's that book, The Trouble with Hating You, and then there's another book called First Love Take 2. Now I think this is like a duet or a series, but you don't necessarily have to read them in order because I do know that it is 2 books, book 1 and book 2. I want to read The Trouble with Hating You first, but my library still has not gotten it. I think they have the audiobook, but I don't like listening to audiobooks without having the option of reading it physically, like with my eyes. It's a romance. I'm not a fan of romance audiobooks. I do like other types of audiobooks, so other genres, especially adult romance. I'm not a fan because sometimes they do have spicy scenes and I don't like listening to that at all. I say all that to say this is the same author, so I'm excited to read this. I'm not gonna lie, let me look up the cover to see if maybe it's changed a little bit. I'm not a fan of the cover. There's just something about it. Yeah, I don't like the cover at all. It's not giving. It looks blurry almost. Like it's a very clear picture, but just glancing at it, I think there's too much going on. I like the colors. I like the pink, purplish, goldish, blue. I like that, but there's just something. It's so busy. It's a very busy cover. Cursed Boys and Broken Hearts. A swoony contemporary romance from Adam Sass following a boy who is cursed to doom any romantic relationship and the summer that changes everything. This is a gay romance. July 23rd. We got quite a few. Cross the line. Her brother's best friend sends her heart racing in this sparkling Formula One romance. I have known about this book for a while. I almost put this book, I think, in the May new release one or June. I think it was May. But I didn't realize, I think the author is Canadian, so it released there first. So it doesn't release here until July 23rd. I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and I have some mutuals who have gotten early copies of it, so I'm now seeing it a lot more on my timeline, and they have me pumped to read this book. No clue how to pronounce this. Near Dukewell? Near? This is a Regency romance. I don't know if there's a difference between Regency and historical romance. I feel like there is, but I'm not positive. In this steamy Regency romp, Lady Selena is determined to find the Duke of Stanhope, the perfect wife. The only problem is she's starting to think that might be her. I have been dabbling in Regency / historical romances. All of them that I have read have been by BIPOC authors. This is the only one I believe, I think even on this list. No, not on this list. But this is one Regency romance that's on my radar that's by a white author. I love that premise of trying to find someone, a partner, but also becoming super close to them. Of course, that's going to probably lead to a very annoying conflict because it's like, well, I'm going to pretend that I don't have feelings for you type of thing. I know that's going to be annoying, but I like it. Exes and foes. When two ex-best friends decide to hold a competition for the new girl's heart, they don't expect to fall for each other instead. I'm a little nervous. Pretty sure this is by a white author. Cover shows two white people. I think it's a white guy and a white girl and a black woman. Black girl. Whatever. This is by Amanda Woody. So Amanda Woody is a queer non-binary author. I'm reading it on their description, author description. However, that still makes me nervous. It's just about white authors writing non-white characters. That's a whole discussion that people tend to have online. I'm not trying to have it on here. I'm not saying that I won't read a book with non-white characters written by white authors. I just am always iffy going into it. That's all I'm gonna say, because I could really get into it, but we're gonna keep it short and sweet. You had me at happy hour. In this sexy, emotionally satisfying LGBTQIA+ romance, a grumpy sommelier, I was supposed to look that word up, and a flirty mixologist just might be the perfect pairing. Let me look up what that is, because I don't know. Again, I can't be saying stuff that I don't know what it means. Is that like a taster? A wine steward, so someone that knows their wine. Oh yeah, might be the perfect pairing. Get it? Someone who's very knowledgeable about wine and someone who mixes it. Mixologist. That's not just wine, I think. That's like drinks. Mixing drinks. I don't know. Jewel Me Twice. This is an art copy that I have received. I still have not read it yet. I am planning on reading it before the due date. Before the release date. I thought it had already been published. I thought it was July 2nd, but it's July 23rd. I really want to try and read it before it releases, because if I don't, this is just going to sit on my shelf. It's just going to sit on my shelf because I'm going to go to the library and get it. There's just something about reading art copies after they've already been published that I don't like, because I don't know what could have changed. I doubt something changed, but something may have. And at least my excuse of reading an art copy before it comes out is I don't need to compare it to the finished copy, because I'm not about to reread. Two career thieves reunite for one last job and must put their messy romantic past behind them to pull off the jewel heist of the century in this scorching action-packed romance. I'm excited because this kind of sounds like, oh, I need to go get it. I hate talking about books and I don't show y'all, and I don't want to put the picture. Is reminding me of To Have and to Heist by Sarah Desai. This is a rom-com. I always talk about this book, and every time I talk about this, I'm gonna always tell you this is not a rom-com. There's like 2% romance. This is more of a comedy. It's about a heist. There's a girl who does find someone to like fall in love with, but don't get your panties in a twist if you read it and you're like, where's the romance? Because it's barely in there, but had nerve to put both of them on the cover. There's another book coming out, a sequel, and I think it's following the same people. Hopefully that's going to be more of a romance. But anyway, I love this book. The only reason I gave it a 4.75 was because I felt duped. That it wasn't a rom-com, it was just a comedy. But it's so funny, and I'm hoping that I love this one just as much. I have high hopes for it because I just have a feeling it's gonna be more of a romance because they do have some kind of past. So very excited about this. Last but not least, July 30th, July has 31 days, child. I was about to say the last day of the month. Not. Between Friends and Lovers, Kennedy Ryan meets Carly Fortune in this swoon-worthy story of love and friendship in the age of social media. I've read Kennedy Ryan before. Still, I've only ever read Before I Let Go. I need to read some other ones. Carly Fortune, I'm pretty sure I recognize the name. I think that's the same author that wrote the Meet Me at the Lake book. Personally, I didn't hear nothing good about it. But anyways, you could have stopped at Kennedy Ryan and I would have been there with you. So online, Josephine, our FMC, talks on health and self-love. However, off camera, her story is a little more complicated. She's grappling with depression and the pressures of her career, and her love life is non-existent thanks to a long-time unrequited crush on her best friend, rom-com heartthrob Ezra. So I'm assuming he must be some kind of an actor, maybe. But or maybe not even an actor, but someone who is known, because it seems like she's an influencer, so maybe he is too. Ezra shows up to his 30th birthday party with her childhood bully on his arm. Let me break it down for you again. Her best friend shows up to his 30th birthday with her childhood bully on his arm. That just sounds wrong. Joe realizes that enough is enough, period. Then comes in Malcolm Walters, who is going to most likely be our MMC, who is a debut author. He meets JoJo at, I think it must be at this party, and they kind of hit it off. But Joe, Ezra, and Malcolm exist in a world where the line between private and public is as blurred as the line between friendship and love. The question is, can they risk defining those lines to create something real? Again, I'm assuming the MMC is going to be Malcolm. The cover does show 3 people. I love the cover, by the way. I'm very excited to read this. I feel like there's going to be something more than just that romance. I'm saying that, and then who knows. The Bookshop Sisterhood. Off bat, the title reminds me of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, which I watched when I was 5th grade. It came out before then, but I was in 5th grade, I think, when I watched it for the first time. 4 best friends, Celeste, Yasmin, Tony, and Leslie, are finally on the verge of opening the bookstore of their dreams, but before they can cut the ribbon, they all receive some sort of bad news. As the bookstore's grand opening fast approaches, the 4 women must lean on each other now more than ever to navigate their grief and uncertainty. And together they'll learn that sometimes even life's most unexpected plot twist can lead to beautiful new beginnings. Very, very, very excited. They Dream in Gold, luminous literary debut following 2 dreamers, one intercultural family, and the diasporic pursuit of home, spanning 2 decades and moving through the hotbeds of the African diaspora. They Dream in Gold is an epic yet intimate exploration of the migrant hunger for belonging and a powerful intergenerational testament to our shared humanity. It's on this list because I do want to read it, but just like the other book, Masquerade, I'm gonna probably take my time to get to it. Just reading the synopsis, this does remind me of another book that I think I spoke about in one of these videos that came out maybe February, March. I forgot what it was called. Redwood Court, I think. Let me see. Redwood Court. This was also historical, but instead of whatever year this one was the 1990s. I still haven't read that one yet either. But I also forgot about it, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think I am in the mood to read it. Last book of the video, The Blonde Dies First. This is by Joelle Wellington. This is the same author that wrote Their Vicious Games. I do have the book. I'm not going to get it. I absolutely love that book. I have been hearing about this book since she published Their Vicious Games and started promoting her newest book. I think this is her sophomore novel. A group of friends fight to choose their own fates in this trope-savvy, self-referential young adult thriller about a demonic force that acts according to horror movie rules in the spirit of the Scream movies. This is the best book that I could end this video on. Out of all the books that I'm so excited to obviously read, this is probably number 1. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these you're most excited to read, or if you have read some of these, because I know July 2nd releases have already been released. So maybe you ran to your local bookstore or your library got it early. I know mine, they take their sweet time with getting books. But anyway, let's chat down in the comments below, and I'll see you hopefully next week, because we out of this slump. I need to use this hundreds of dollar camera that I bought. Yeah. Bye.